Hello again, everybody. Boyd back with you. Well, welcome to the update on my 2020 cancer awareness build. This is the AMT 69 Torino Cobra that just got repopped. This is actually an old kit. It's been out for several years, and they just repackaged it and upgraded the decal sheet and re-released the kit. I think they added some extra parts as far as racing parts and all that. Like I mentioned when I talked about the box art in my intro video. There's a roll cage. There's some extra racing seats. There's a couple of reviews out of this kit already. You can look up if you want to find the fine details in this. So I just want to talk to you about what I've been working on it so far. You can see I got the body all done here. I polished it all out after I painted it and did all my trim detail on it with my Sharpie marker, and it came out pretty nice. I got to touch it up in a few spots before I finish with it. It's just kind of sitting here and waiting to drop down. I got the glass in it and everything. Now, I want to point out the good and the bad with this kit. The body itself on this kit is really, really nice. It's shaped really nice. It's really accurate to a 69 Torino. The lines are nice and crisp. The hood fits good on it. When you start getting into the ugly on the body, the glass, the front glass fits pretty decent, but the rear glass, no matter which way you position it, and even if you put a little bit of pressure on it, it's got just a tiny little gap around these edges here on both sides. It's not horrible, but it's noticeable a little bit. And I tried everything I could to try to get it to, get as close as I could. I put a little bit of pressure on it, and I used some of the solar res that I used, the UV resin, and kind of pushed down on it and tacked it in place, and then I went around it with a bead of regular model glue after I had it all locked down. So that was the best I could do. If you really want to do a nice job on this and make it better, you could get some clear, the clear sheet styrene, really thin stuff, and cut out a window for it, and then, stick it up in there, and it would fit a lot better. It's partly to do with the curve of it and everything. So, but the front windshield fits pretty good. So I was pretty good there. So after I got the body all prepped and everything, I started working on the chassis here. The chassis on this kit is real basic. You can see it's kind of almost like a curbside kit. It's got the rear differential already molded in place. The shocks are molded in place. You don't even get any front shocks. The front control arms are molded in place already. You just got the basic plastic pegs that hold the front wheels on and a steel axle in the back, like a lot of these old kits were. The drive shaft's molded in place and everything. So I just kind of cleaned it up a little bit, painted it up a little bit, painted the exhaust. The exhaust is separate, so I did that. Painted the tank and everything just with some craft acrylics. This is craft acrylic steel, and I think this is a satin black, where I just kind of highlighted some of the frame stuff and all that. Just real basic. So I got everything put on. I got the running gear put on. When I went to do the wheels, I found out right away if you're going to use the stock tires here, that these rally wheels, if you're going to use these, they're like, the chrome half of them is molded like way too thick, so they're super deep, and if you try to put them on these tires, you're going to have an issue where they're going to be sticking out really far, either on the inside, where you don't want it or whatever. So I have a little grinder, so I just took them over and grinded them down until they were flush. You'll see when you go to work on this kit yourself, it's like these tires, or these rims, were made for a lot wider tires, is what it was. And they have a lip that sticks out from the flat part on the backside. So all I did was grind that lip off of there until they were flush on the back, and then I had to do a little bit of the same thing on the inner wheel part to remove that little ring on there, and then it fit together pretty good. So that corrected the tire and wheel problem. I just took some craft acrylic pewter, which is really close to the argent. These original rims on these were painted like an argent silver, they called it, by Ford. And then I just took a little bit of black wash, and I just dipped it in each one of the little, open little slots in the wheel, and they look really nice. And just left the trim ring kind of shiny. The tires are already pre-stamped with these nice Goodyear polyglass lettering on there, so that's nice that they're doing on these newer kits. So that took care of the wheel and tire problem. So the next thing I tried to do is I got the body all prepped, and I always like to set the body down on there and see what kind of rake the car is going to have and everything, and make sure everything lines up. And what really surprised me was how far off the wheelbase was on this. Basically, the front wheels were too far back. So like if you put them on you put the little plastic peg in there and you push it through the hole and you put it on there where it's supposed to be, and you line it up on the body, the tires here were like the rear tires were okay, but the front tires were like way back, almost, a quarter of the way. It seemed like, not quite that much, but they weren't centered in the wheel wells at all. It looked really bad. So what I wound up doing is I just uh, you couldn't use the pegs anymore, so I just basically glued these right onto the bulkheads, the little spindle part there, and I just took a little bit of a measurement and I moved them forward, both of them, until I got them to where they were centered here, and then I had the rear centered. So that was kind of surprising that it was that far off. If you get this kit, you'll see what I mean. It's really off. It's not off just a little bit. It's off a lot, which I was really surprised about that. But it's an easy fix. I fixed it right up. I used my ceramic piece of tile, so I had a really nice flat surface, and I set it down and I glued them and made sure the car was all it was all square and everything like that. So it wasn't too big of a deal, but just kind of disappointing that they would have something that far off on it. Well, then the next problem I ran into was when I got ready to drop the I tested it. Show you the interior really quick here first before I go any further. Just a really basic job. They don't even have any door hand or window crank or anything molded onto the door panels. It's really basic. But I just did a nice little detail paint job on here, and did the little trim on the seats and all that around the sides, and did the gauges and stuff on the dash. That trim that was on the right hand side there. These Torinos were really basic on the interior. I had one, and the console's not right in this either. The console's supposed to kind of come up and meet the dash underneath with a really nice piece of stainless trim that was there, and that wasn't included at all. But it looks pretty good. When you look in the window, it looks all right. But it's just a basic tub. You've only got, the shifter, which is strange. This is a 4-speed car because it has a clutch pedal and has a 4-speed transmission, but they give you the automatic shifter, which is kind of strange, but I just went with it. You can see the engine detail. I'm pleased with the engine detail. This is the 428 Cobra jet. They got the shape of the valve covers right and everything. It fits in here really good. The fact you've got a choice of either the factory manifolds that I did, or you got 2 different sets of headers you can use. You can go with a full-length exhaust, or you have some side dumps that the kit comes with. There's some interior options too, as far as you can put a roll bar in it. You can put a couple racing seats in it. I think those are extra parts that didn't come in this kit originally. This is a repop, like I mentioned. They basically just gave you a few extra racing parts, and then they upped the decal sheet, so you get all the decals for the Cobra emblems and everything in the 428 Cobra jet. The emblem here on the air cleaner and everything. I wish they would have gave you some gauge decals, but oh well, you don't get those every time. But so when it came time to test the body again with the interior in it this time, I noticed right away that the body would not drop down all the way onto the car like it should. It was like sitting up too high. You could see way too much of the the edges of the chassis here, and it seemed like it was kind of you could feel it like rocking back and forth when you were trying to do it. Well, I looked into it, and what it is that they have these solid plastic, kind of raised bars that go all the way across on the floor pan right here, and you can see about how wide they were right there, and they went all the way across. And when the interior tub sat on top of it, it raised it up about maybe like that much, and then you could see the tub would rock on top of it, and so I'm not sure why that's that way either, but I grinded those down and made them flat. And then now the tub sits in there really good, like it's, flat like it's supposed to, and the body now will drop down onto the car, exactly like it should. So there's a couple of weird things with this kit, and I just thought I'd fill you in on that when you work on one. If you guys are, long-time modelers out there and you've worked on AMT car models, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. They are notorious for having to do strange things like that. So the last issue that I ran into, got the chassis and everything all figured out, got the interior fitting good. Well, when I dropped the body on there again, then it's time to test, how the bumpers fit and everything. The front bumper went in no problem, but the rear bumper wouldn't even come close to fitting on the car, because what happened was the bottom, or the rear half of the chassis here, the pan was too long, and then the center part right here where the gas tank is, it hits on this license plate part right here on the where it dips in on the chrome. So basically the bumper, sitting on the car was like the closest I could get it. It was kind of tilted like that much. I mean, it was really, really far off. So it didn't even come close to fitting. And I made sure everything was centered and lined up the right way, but it didn't work. So I had to shave off. I probably shaved a good I don't know, probably about almost an eighth of an inch off the back of this thing, and then I had to make a little notch right here in the top of the gas tank where when it's all the way down on there you can't see it, and thankfully when the bumper's on there it covers all that up and you can't see it. But yeah, it's just another strange thing, and it's kind of hard to explain, but if you build this kit, you'll run into the exact same problem. And I had to shave a little bit off of the back of the bumper here too. I didn't want to go too far. I was afraid of going all the way through and ruining making a hole in it and ruining it. But I went as far as I could, and it seems to be okay now. So I wanted to show you this stuff, point all this stuff out before I drop the body down in here finally and call it a day when I glue it in place. So just did a really basic wash. I did a black wash on the grill here. As you can see, I did a little black wash on the rear panel here, which has this nice kind of checkerboard effect. Now, I want to point out something too. My 69 Torino was a GT model, and that's the correct trim for the GT. It's supposed to have this kind of, brushed aluminum fascia right here with these black squares all the way across. And the Cobra is just supposed to have this little bar that goes across right here, and this lower part here would have been, just a bare panel, like on the back of the trunk area here. You would have seen the color of the, whatever color the car was. You'd just have a steel panel right in there. So they don't have that detail right. Because I think they actually made a GT kit, but it didn't have the Cobra Jet hood scoop on it. And so I remember a long time ago when I was looking for one of these kits, I think I saw one of those, and I didn't get it because it didn't have the hood scoop, and I wanted to have that because my car had that on there. But this might be the bumper for the GT kit. I'm not sure. Some of you guys out there that are really knowledgeable about these kits probably know. But I just thought I'd point that out too. But no big deal. It looks pretty good. So that's about it, what I've done so far. What I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm going to go ahead and get the chassis put in, drop the body onto it and everything, and get it all glued in place. And then get my front and rear bumpers put on. And I got a couple little chrome tips I got to put on the back of it. And then we'll show you how it looks when it's all fully put together. Be right back with that. All right, everybody. Well, it's been about an hour or so, and you can see I've got it all put together and finished up. I dropped the body down onto the floor pan, got the interior in and everything, and it came out pretty good. As I mentioned, I had to do a little bit of work here, a little bit of modifying to get my wheelbase figured out here. Originally with that problem I talked about, these wheels in the front were way far back to where part of the tire was actually behind the fender opening a little bit. That's how far off it was. So that little modification fixed that. Then I had to shorten up the rear, the floor pan to get the bumper to clear and everything. And then it finally came together. We also took those little bars out across so the interior tub sits in it like it should. But, it's a typical model kit, these older model kits. AMT especially, we're all kind of used to doing that. So it was really no big deal. I don't want to knock the kit or anything. I really love the body on the kit. The kit kind of reminds me of the old Johan kits, where those were awesome, where the body on those kits were fantastic. They looked exactly like they should. The lines were all nice and crisp and clean. This really reminds me of that. And, but you had a little bit of lacking detail on the bottom and, not much detail in the engine compartment and all that. But still, they turned out to be nice models. And, they always fit together and everything pretty good. We had a little issue with that here, but not bad at all. You can see I got the little chrome exhaust tips here on the back and got everything, lined up. As I mentioned, the glass has a tiny little bit of a gap in it there at the rear, but if you use some aftermarket thin sheet, you can make that look a lot better. So a little bit of extra, fiddling around, you can get this to come out really, really sharp. I'll go ahead and pop the hood off here for you and show you the engine up close. And you can see we've got the 428 and got the nice little air breather decal on there, which I thought was a nice little touch that they added. But, not a lot going on in there. I didn't bother with any wiring or anything like that. I just, this is pretty much just an out-of-the-box build. So, but not bad. I think it looks nice. They got the shape of the valve covers and everything really nice. So, pretty good-looking model when it's all done. And it's bringing back some nice memories. I made this to look like my old Torino, which I'll show you a picture of that real quick. This is one of the pictures I could find of it. This is probably taken about 1984. This is probably a few days after I bought the car. I bought the car in Beloit, Wisconsin, which is about 20 minutes south of where I grew up in Janesville. And I found it in a classified ad, and it was, I think I paid just a little over $1,000 for it, just like you see it sitting here, which was not bad. The car was in good shape. On the other side, it had a little bit of a scrape and a dent on the driver's door and a couple rock chips, but the engine and everything in it was in perfect condition. It hadn't been running for a while, and the guy had parked it for like 4 or 5 years because the brakes went out and he didn't know how to fix it, and it turned out to be just the master cylinder. It took me, I think about one afternoon. This picture was taken at my dad's place, and I think I worked on it one afternoon and had it running and driving, and I drove it for several years, and it would run like a scalded dog. It was awesome. It was an R code Super Cobra jet. You can see the Cobra jet emblem on the hood, which if I had that car today, it'd be worth $30,000 easy. It had the R code Super Cobra jet, 4-speed, positive traction. I don't know what gears were in the rear end, but it turned around 3,000 RPM on the highway doing about 65, so they were pretty low. And it would really scoot from 0 to 120 or whatever, but after that you were running out of gear for sure. But just a whole lot of fun. I really miss the car. I hope it's still out there somewhere. I actually wound up selling that car to a guy that was a Vietnam vet who told me a story that he bought one of these, exactly the same color, same equipment, everything, in 1970, and got drafted and went into Vietnam and had to sell the car. Only got to drive it for a couple of months, and so he had been looking for one for years, and he bought it as soon as he saw it. But I hope it's still out there somewhere. And but yeah, I had a lot of fun. Turned out really good. Really happy with it. And I just want to say a quick shout out here at the end to the guys that put on the cancer awareness build again this year. Hopefully I'll take part in it again next year. I always look forward to it. I'm seeing a lot of really cool builds out there for this, and hats off to the guys for putting it together again this year. It's always a important thing that everybody keep aware of it. It's a horrible disease, and hopefully we'll make it go away one of these days if everybody keeps it on their minds and everything. So sympathy for anybody out there that's going through it, and hopefully you get better. But again, a lot of fun, and I guess that'll be a wrap, you guys. Again, turned out really nice. I'm really happy with it. So we will see you guys soon. I'll be back with an update. We'll start on a new project here maybe next week, and then I think I'll maybe come back and finish up the 1/1000 scale Discovery Enterprise. I finally got the Aztec decals in for that, and we'll come back and show you how that turned out, and then move on to something else. So okay, you guys, you know the drill. We'll wrap this thing up with a little bit of spin on the old wheel with some music, and we'll see you next time, everybody. So take care, and happy modeling, everyone.